Alright gang, so today we're talking a side dish. Fantastic side dish for anytime you have some great barbecue. So next time you're out there in the backyard and you want to make something that's really going to be a good side dish for your barbecue, easy cheesy scalloped potatoes. Let's go. Alright guys, so as I said, today we are going to be doing an easy cheesy smoked scalloped potato dish. Now this is a very simple dish that even the most novice of beginners to barbecue, you can pull this off. It's a very simple one to put together. Get it on your pit. You don't even have to put it on a pit. If you don't want to do it in a pit and you want to put it in the oven, put it in the oven. Who cares? But it's just a very simple dish that has great flavors that I think you'll enjoy at your next barbecue. So give this side dish a try, and hey, without further ado, let's hop into this. Alright, so to get this recipe started, it's very simple. We're going to keep it very basic. We're going to start off with some heavy cream, and we got some salt and some pepper. Now we also have some shredded cheese that we're going to be using today, and man, that's really going to be it. Now don't be afraid to just play around with this recipe. Add what you want into it. If you want some garlic, paprika, maybe some chipotle, whatever you want to add to it to play with this recipe, to customize it, to make it yours, man, go for it. But today we're going to keep it very nice and simple. Now we're going to start off with a little heavy cream, and I'm not even going to use a measuring cup. I'm just going to pour some in here and eyeball it, and we're roughly going to put in here about 2 cups of heavy cream. Again, that's how we're going to start off with this. Following with that, we're going to start off with about a tablespoon of just kosher salt. So we're going to get that tossed in there, and we're going to follow up with about a tablespoon of cracked black pepper. Okay, now that's all we've got in here right now. We're going to just take a whisk and kind of whisk it together, get everything incorporated there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to set this to the side. Now guys, this is the time where we're going to get ready to really get this thing going, get it put together. We're going to break out our Dow Strong knife here, and I'm going to be using my my Dow Strong Nakiri knife here, just because I really like this knife. It's just a really cool knife there. So anyway, we've got our potatoes here. Now we're going to be using russet potatoes. I think russet potatoes work really well for this recipe, so that's what I'm going to be using. Feel free to use whatever you want. Now here we kind of like having the skin on with our potatoes, so I'm going to be leaving the skin on. Please feel free to take the skin off if that's the way you prefer it. So let's go ahead and get this put together. Now the thing about potatoes is you know, they're rounded or whatever, and so sometimes it can be kind of unstable on your cutting board, so I always kind of like to just get a nice little flat edge there. And so now I've got a good stable potato to work with here, so I don't cut myself. Now I'm using a very sharp knife with this, and that again is the key to being able to make these slices with a knife. Otherwise, use a mandolin. You know, a lot of people like to use mandolin, but hey, I'll just use my knife here. And so I'm just making these cuts here, and I'm just aiming to make just really thin cuts, guys. And that's really the name of the game, just being slow and steady with it, and just making these nice simple cuts. I'll make so many of these, and I'll just kind of move them to the side, and that seems to work really well for me, so that's what we're gonna do. Now as you can see, guys, these are, you know, they're not super thin slices, but they're pretty decent slices of potatoes that we got done with our knife here. I got this first potato done, but I got these other potatoes I'm going to get done here, guys. So I'm going to slice these potatoes up, and I'll bring you back in a minute. Alright guys, so we're back. We got our potatoes all cut here, and we've got a good stack of potatoes going here, and now we're going to go ahead and get this whole dish put together. And so what we're going to do here, so we're going to set our whisk to the side, and we're going to take our sliced potatoes that we've got here. We're going to just add them to our heavy cream that we've got in our bowl, our seasoned heavy cream. Then we're going to go ahead and just kind of gently mix this through. So we're just getting in there with our hands and just kind of mixing this all through, guys. And we're just basically trying to get all of these potatoes coated with the heavy cream. Alright, so now that we've got this put in here and we've got this coated, we're going to take some of our cheese here. And I'm probably going to take about half of this cheese that we've got here. It's going to be roughly 2 cups of cheese here. 2 cups of shredded cheese. Now you can use whatever cheese you like. I'm using a shredded Colby Jack cheese or a Monterey Jack cheese here. And so we're just going to mix this through. Alright, so now we've got this all mixed through, all we got to do is get it in our pan. So we're going to take our aluminum pan here and we're going to dump our potatoes into it. Whoops, the potatoes try to get away. And we're just going to kind of even this out inside of our pan, guys. Just like so. And the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to top it with the rest of this cheese. So we're going to evenly spread this cheese right across the top of it. Alright, now we've got our easy cheesy scalloped potatoes assembled and they're ready to go on the grill. So we're going to get over here and fire up the grill and get these on. So meet me at the grill, guys. Alright guys, so here we are at the grill. Now today we've got our charcoal chimney loaded up with some B&B, and this is the hickory lump charcoal, and obviously we're using our Weber kettle. Now we're going to be using a couple of fire starters here to get this going, and these are the tumbleweeds. So we're going to go ahead and get these lit. And we'll get our charcoal chimney put over these and let this get lit up here. Alright guys, so now we've got our charcoal lit, and we're going to be cooking indirectly, which means we're going to be using all of our charcoal on one side and we're going to be cooking on the other. Now we're not going to use our slow and sear, we're just going to use just the kettle the way it is. So we're going to dump this in, making sure we get this all over to one side. Alright, we're going to get our rack put on here. Alright, so what I've got here is just some post-oak little chips that I'm going to toss in just to give us a little bit more smoke. And now we're going to go ahead and get our dish put on to the opposite side, guys. So here we go. And we'll get the lid put on and make sure I get our vent about halfway open. Alright, there we go. Alright guys, so hey, we just got our potatoes put onto the grill. Now again, we're cooking indirectly today, which means we're putting our coals on one side, we're putting our dish on the other side, and we're letting that heat just kind of, you know, use that convection to kind of cook up our dish for us. Now, we want it to be a kind of a higher heat today, okay? Typically, when you're going lower and slower, you might be 250 or 275 or even lower than that. Today, you're probably wanting your temperatures 375, 400 degrees. Now, the bottom vents on my Weber kettle I've got wide open, guys. I typically always leave those wide open. And my top vent right now, I've got it for half open. Now, if you've noticed, I don't measure the temperatures. I just kind of know how much heat I want it to be kind of hot. So I'm going to have those vents wide open. And I've got a lot more charcoal lit up at one time right now. So what I do is I'll just come back and kind of check it every, you know, maybe 20 minutes in and see how well it's cooking. If it's cooking a little too fast, then I'll choke down the vents and just kind of even out the cook. But right now it's just time to just let this go on the Weber kettle, let that heat get in there, kind of meld everything together, get the top nice and brown, so to speak. And hey, we'll just keep monitoring this cook and get these easy cheesy scalloped potatoes done here on our Weber kettle. So I'll bring you back in a little bit. Alright guys, so here we are at about the 20-minute mark. We're going to just take a look, and as you can see, we're coming along pretty good here, and we're just going to turn this around just to kind of give it a good even cook. And we're just going to let it keep going. It's looking pretty good. It's browning up pretty nicely. So yeah, let's just put the lid on and let it keep rolling. So scalloped potatoes? All right. So when I was a kid, you know, one of the dishes that we had was scalloped potatoes. And you know, we often had it whenever we had a fried protein, like either a fried chicken or a fried pork chop or something like that. But you know, it was made, you know, those days, you know, with the roux, putting the roux together and building it, you know, that way. This way is a little simpler, you know, using just heavy cream and seasoning it up and going from there. And it works out very well. But these flavors together, you know, with the potatoes and the cheese and green onions and all of that just takes me back to childhood, you know. And you know, I love barbecue, and obviously I love, you know, my childhood and things that I had back then. So to combine them together is just it's a fantastic combination. So you know, yeah, easy cheesy smoked scalloped potatoes, guys. So hope you enjoy. Alright, so let's do a recap of what we did with today's cook. Now again, we're making a easy cheesy smoked scalloped potato dish. We started off with a couple of cups of heavy cream, and we seasoned it up, and we kept it very simple today with just salt and pepper. So we got that blended together with our whisk, and then we set that to the side. So next up, we got a really sharp knife, and today I'm using my Dawgfatha knife, and we sliced our potatoes. Now if you don't have a sharp knife, or you'd like your slices to be really thin, then use a mandolin. But today we just used a really sharp Dawgfatha knife to slice our potatoes. Once we got all of our potatoes sliced, we added them into our seasoned heavy cream. Once we've done that and we got everything coated with the heavy cream, we added in a couple of cups of shredded Monterey Jack cheese. That's where we get the cheesy from. Now once we got the potatoes coated in heavy cream and we got the Monterey Jack cheese put into it, we then put it into our aluminum pan that's going to go on our grill. Now today we're using our Weber Kettle 22-inch grill, and we're using B&B hickory lump charcoal. Now we lit up our lump charcoal today in our charcoal chimney, and we used a couple of tumbleweeds to get that going. Once the lump charcoal was lit and ready to go, we used the indirect cooking method by pouring our lump charcoal on one side of the grill, and we're cooking on the opposite side of the grill. Now to our lump charcoal today, we're adding in some post oak wood chips to give us a little bit of flavor. So once we got our grill set up, we went ahead and got our dish with our potatoes on, closed the lid, and we kept the bottom vent wide open, and the top vent is about halfway open. Now typically when you're smoking things, you want it to be a little lower temperature, but today we wanted a little higher temperature, and we're targeting 375 to 400 degrees. Now after about 20 minutes, we came back to check our potatoes. Now what we're looking for is to see how fast the dish is cooking. If it's cooking too fast, then we'll adjust our vents to bring our temperature down. To that, we also wanted to rotate our pan so that we can get a good even cook throughout this process. So after almost an hour or so, we were ready to get our dish off the grill. Now how do you know when it's ready for you? Is you want to check your tenderness of your potatoes by using a toothpick or a meat probe or whatever. But once your tenderness is there, it's time to pull that dish off of the grill. And now you're caught up with everything we did with today's cook, and now it's time to taste these easy cheesy smoked scalloped potatoes. Alright guys, so here we've got our finished dish. We've got our easy cheesy scalloped potatoes. Now all in all, it took us about an hour or so on our Weber kettle, rolling at 375 to 400 degrees. As you can see, we've got a nice little exterior crust there with that cheese that we put on the top of this, and then you just got that heavy cream that's just that good cheesy creaminess throughout this entire dish. Now we went ahead and topped it here with some green onions. You know, we just chopped up some green onions and put them on top here, and man, it's just that easy. So it's time for us to go ahead and give this a taste. So I'm gonna get right in here just like this, because I like that cream cheese and or the heavy cream and the cheese and that green onion mixture. So let's give this a taste. All right, let's go. All right, there you go. All right guys, hey, as I always say in my videos, if you enjoyed what you saw in this video, check out these videos we got listed right here, as well as click on that subscribe button up there, alright? And I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Cheers.